even though Phil's new motor is a budget rebuild, the more time you spend cleaning stuff up, the better. Obviously my shop's not a surgery. There's doors open at both ends, so we're going to have to be careful and constantly blow it off with compressed air as we do the rebuild here.
But we've got a true F54 turbo block that I've had kicking around. It's a little hone job on the cylinders. Now we've power washed it, and since I recently blew the motor in my car, I'm gonna put new rings on some good turbo pistons, just stock turbo pistons, and see how long that'll last.
My guess is not long.
Yeah, 20 pounds.
20 pounds. It might get him home. Datsun.
Now we're going to mic everything. I think.
You know you're a true Datsun geek when you have Starrett, the best measuring instruments in the world, in a bore diameter small enough for a Datsun.
Yeah.
Basically, even though at this point there's not much we can do about the fact that if it's been overbored, we'll just have to use one of the other blocks. But we're simply trying to make certain that this motor has not been bored, which
we don't think it has.
I am guessing it has not. So
I'm trying to use.
I think I gotta switch. Yeah, I gotta switch to this.
I'm trying to use the authentic turbo F54 block.
All right, so we have our inside bore gauge, which we've set at 86 millimeter. And this, just a second. Oh, somebody's calling me on my cell phone.
But we're filming.
There it is, 86 millimeter.
86 millimeter.
And we'll check for a taper. We'll flip the block over and check for a taper. Oh no. What's up? What you doing, man? Rebuilding the motor out in the shoppy. Yeah. We've got it set in there just exactly right and measured the depth with a dial indicator, so it's exactly 86 millimeter bore. This block has never been bored. It doesn't have any big gouges or even little gouges really in the cylinders, so for our intents and purposes, this block will be just fine. There is one ridge that you can just barely feel with your finger, which will probably not hurt anything. I say probably. If you break some rings, it'll be in that hole.
Burp.
So, we will now flip the block over, use the bore indicator to check for a taper in this bore, which L28 or L blocks almost never taper, but we'll check it anyway just because we're here. This hole again. My hands are just slightly too big.
You know what it means when you have big hands?
You need big gloves. There it is. It looks just fine. No taper. In fact, it's just barely sitting there.
African American, please.
There we go. Perfect.
All right.
Now we will get the crank out.
Which is right there.
And we'll clean the crank up, and then we will put the micrometers on the crankshaft. So, the way the best way, in my opinion, to measure bearing clearance. Obviously, you can use plastic gauge. A lot of people use plastic gauge. I don't care much for plastic gauge. Mainly because I have inside bore gauges and micrometers. So, to measure bearing clearance, we will mic the crank. We'll get a reading off how large the crank journals are. Then we'll get an inside reading from the mains. Then we will mic the thickness of the main bearings times 2 because there's a bearing on top and bottom. And then you subtract the inner diameter of the bearing surface, which is the main diameter, plus the bearing thickness times 2, minus the main journal diameter, and you come up with your bearing clearance. There's a little bit of math involved, but it's a lot more precise than squishing a piece of plastic and looking.
Yeah.
So,
it does make sense.
We will measure the inside bore. Make sure that you've got it exactly square. This large diameter stirrup is good because you can just put your finger up against the side of the hole. So, there we have our inside measurement from the main bearing torqued to spec, and we'll write that down. Where's my pencil? We'll write it down as soon as we find it.
We've had so much beer we can't find the pencil. Day number 2.
The short block is completely assembled. New bearings.
We won't say anything else.
That's right. New bearings. That's about the size of it.
It's got new bearings.
New bearings, old pistons. It's going to have a new coat of paint, though, by God.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. F54 with the knock hole. Alright, I got 3 or 4 coats of paint on it. And just gonna go till the can's done, so maybe 1 or 2 coats more. It looks like the paint's coming out pretty good. You know, not trying to get crazy, but coming along.
Whatever.
Okay.
Ooh, I think I went the wrong way. Get the full back.
Yeah. This is what's going in my car. Looks good, but it's all stock.
Well, at least it's all fresh. How about that?
It's all fresh and all stock.
Done.
Yep.
Done and done. Going in the cooler for a little frosty, cool refreshment.
Well, all we got to do is take the motor out of my car and drop this one in and put all the crap on it. Put my alternator, air conditioner, front pulley, all that kind of crap.
And everyone on YouTube, this is not some kind of crazy hot rod bullcrap. This is a stock-ish rebuild. We've mic'd all the clearances. We assembled it completely correct. And of course, L28 turbos last over 200,000 miles at 5 pounds of boost. So at 20 pounds of boost, let's see, 200,000 miles at 5 pounds. So 20 pounds would be like 50,000 miles. I give this motor like a couple of oil changes, and we'll be sweeping parts out of the oil pan because Philip Smith cannot leave well enough alone. He is power hungry.
Yeah, it's gonna feel 20 pounds. I